Hi there. Today we are talking all about severe autism in adults and children who will eventually become adults. It is an excerpt from a podcast I did with Jill Escher, who is the president of the National Council for Severe Autism. And we talk about the changes that happened way back when we went from the DSM 4 to the DSM 5, all about the challenges with helping adults with severe autism and some steps that we can all take to improve the situation, not only for our adult kids, but also for the kids coming up to adulthood. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Mary Barbera, autism mom, behavior analyst, and best-selling author. Each week, I bring you some of my ideas about turning things around for kids and adults with autism, as well as for toddlers just showing signs. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can join over 100,000 subscribers who have already joined. So hit subscribe and hit the notification bell as well. So today we're just bringing you a short excerpt from podcast number 153 from Jill Escher talking about severe autism and its challenges. When Lucas was diagnosed, it was the DSM-4 version, and that had autistic disorder meaning severe. It also had Asperger's and PDD-NOS and Rett syndrome and
CDD
and the childhood dissociative disorder. And when we went from DSM-4 in, I think it was 2013, to DSM-5, that's when they got rid of Asperger's, got rid of PDD-NOS, which was mild and higher functioning levels, and collapsed everything into autism spectrum disorder level 1, 2, and 3. And I think I did a video blog on that we can link to in the show notes if you're, new to this topic, because we're touching on a lot of stuff here. First the genetics, and now the increase, and now all these diagnostic categories. But I think when it changed to DSM-5, and that at the same time in 2013, Twitter, Facebook, everything was going nuts or starting. I'm not sure, exactly what year all that took off, but I think the people who are conversational and can self-advocate, they started advocating for themselves, as they should. But then again, that's what the media portrays. That's what the politicians want to go with. The whole neurodiversity movement is actually, saying that our kids, maybe don't need the care that they need, or we shouldn't have places for them to go into pre-vocational programs, or otherwise known as sheltered workshops, or we shouldn't have residential placements. It just,
I think, honestly, I think there's been an all-out assault on the severe autism community. And I say that reluctantly because I don't want to say that. I don't want to create division
or assault.
But it has been like an all-out political assault on the severe autism community by disability rights advocates that have a very rosy view of what autism is. And there's a real pervasive denialism about the level of disability and what their lifespan needs will be. And one example you just mentioned was sheltered workshops. This is not the only example, but the disability rights crusaders have very successfully, been limiting access to non-competitive employment for people with severe disabilities.
Yeah.
The idea is that people with disabilities shouldn't be paid less than people without disabilities. Okay, well, all right. I'm all for somebody getting a competitive integrated job if they can. I'm all for supports for that person. But the fact of the matter is, anybody with two eyes can see that that is not possible for probably the majority of people with autism. The data really shows that people with autism have incredibly low rates of employment. So
even
my,
people with normal IQ range.
even people, yes, exactly.
Like what the employment rate, at least the statistics that we're aware of, are only like 10% of people that have been diagnosed as autism spectrum disorder
Right.
are actually competitively employed and
Right. And
and
exactly.
happy with that employment. Like, you know,
Yeah, and a lot of those people don't even work full time, by the way. So yeah, it's really minuscule. We have horrifically bad employment rates, and so the people who are sort of the um, starry-eyed, ideologues are like, well, we just need to find more employment opportunities for these people. We need more acceptance and understanding. And I'm like, no, that's not actually going to get you very far with the vast majority of the population, because the vast majority of population inherently lacks the ability to do this work, right? They lack the cognitive ability, they lack the functional ability, they have behaviors, they need supports. It's like, it's not possible, right?
right,
Somebody who is like throwing a tantrum and like kicking down the machinery at work is not going to be invited back,
right,
right?
right.
So,
Or even like Lucas, to even volunteer somewhere, he needs a one-to-one support, highly trained support person with him, and then he can do very well.
Mhm.
But if he actually got a part-time job, then this highly trained person could actually not accompany him, even short-term or long-term, because
Right.
that's a different funding source. And then we'd have to bring in this type of worker or that type of worker. It's like,
No, it's
forget it.
crazy. It's insane. It's an insane idea, but this insane idea has
Is
captured, right, the imaginations of the policymakers and the disability rights leaders, who I think just don't want to grapple with reality, because the reality is really hard and very expensive.
well, and
Um,
as the rate goes up, there's going to be a lot more adults like Lucas and Johnny
mhm.
coming down the pike. I mean, I've heard it be termed a tsunami is coming
Oh,
for
there's no
adults.
question. All you have to do is take one look at the data. It's already a tsunami, right? Already the adult services are completely overwhelmed by this population.
And now with
Um,
COVID, it's
oh
like,
yeah, it got even worse, of course. Yeah.
yeah. So what can we do to move forward in some small steps to
Yeah.
make this better for
Well,
kids coming down the pike and that are gonna be adults with severe autism? Like, what can we do?
I think everything has to start with truth. We have to be as honest as possible, just um, kind of, glossing over, painting over reality as we see all the time, happening in the media, happening in the neurodiversity community, doesn't help our population at all. All it does is further marginalize them and make them more invisible and make their needs less urgent. Um, I, for one, am entirely about honesty and truth and facts. And we have to get those facts out there as clearly as we can. Um, I think that the data on the increase in autism has been really kind of swept under the rug. We need to have more reports showing, not just, as you mentioned, like not just the diagnosis of autism, but what that actually means in terms of functional levels. We need to be able to project that. And you would think that by now, 2021, that this work would have been done. But in fact, very little work has been done on this. And the little work that has been done is extremely alarming in terms of what it projects in terms of costs, not just to families and taxpayers, but to the society at large. It's just enormous cost burden. So we need to be very realistic about it. And then we need realistic policy. I mean, I usually talk about it this way. We have insurance, right, for a lot of things. Like, I'm sitting in my own home. I have home. If my house burns down, I have home insurance. I'll be able to rebuild, right? If I cross the street out there and get hit by a car, I have health insurance. So if I get hit by a car, I can go to the hospital and they can, do whatever to save me, right? We don't have autism insurance. I mean, we have autism, people think of autism insurance in terms of access to ABA, and that's fine. That's just one kind of small thing. But we don't have a national system for thinking about how do we spread the risk for, the lifelong care for adults with developmental disabilities, especially autism, which is, I'm sorry, the most severe of all of the developmental disabilities. We don't think that way because we haven't had this problem in the past, right?
Mhm.
This is a new problem. This is an unprecedented problem, an unprecedented population. And we aren't really thinking realistically about how we're going to do that. Instead, we're sort of, we're utilizing old systems like Medicaid, which was never really developed to address the needs of a population like this at this level, at these numbers. And we're just sort of trying to use these old systems in a patchwork way. It's a very fragmented, disconnected, illogical way to
And
kind of provide some services.
every state is totally different.
Every state is different. And I think like the IDEA did for education, IDEA was a level playing field across all 50 states. This is the rule about how you deal with kids in need of special education, right? Period. Across 50 states, level playing field. We don't have that for adults. We don't have that legislation that says this is the level playing field. This is the baseline in terms of how we provide long-term care for this growing population of adults with serious neurodevelopmental pathology.
I hope you enjoyed that excerpt. If you want to watch the whole video, you can go to marybarbera.com/153. If you like this excerpt, leave me a comment, give a thumbs up, share it with somebody who may benefit. And if you'd like to learn more about joining our online course and community, you can visit marybarbera.com/workshops, and I'll see you right here next week.